Hello, I'm Royden Woodford, and I plan to outline in my presentation what I'm proposing to undertake through my final major project. I envisage a project with a nautical theme with several linked but underlying topics for exploration. At this stage, no one topic has greater weight. My plan for the FMP is to create a body of work that investigates shipwrecks and wrecking. I have given consideration and believe I'll be using digital equipment for its technical capabilities and portability. I have not ruled out my 5.4 camera and the use of the drone. The Halliswell, a three-masted sailing vessel bound for Bombay, wrecked on the 6th of January 1786, one more casualty for the Dorset coastline and one of the worst peacetime losses of life, only 74 survivors out of 240. With the location of the wreck at the bottom of a steep cliff, how did anyone survive? This wrecking has prompted much artistic response. One notable work produced shortly after is the watercolour by J. M. W. Turner, as shown here. It was also inspiration for Charles Dickens' story, The Long Journey, and as well as orchestral music and poems. The SS Travail wrecked on the Kimmeridge Ledges on January 9, 1920, with the loss of 36 of the 43 crew, just 50 yards from the shore. The formal inquiry states, the secret of how the ship came on the ledges is lost in Chapman's Pool. Have the mermaids returned, and did the mermaids have a hand in the disaster? There are many superstitions when it comes to the sea. As already mentioned, the existence of mermaids and sirens, as Joan Fontecubierta proved. There is Jonah, red sky in the morning, mariner's warning. So exploring the maritime mythology will add further depth to the work. Storms and sea states could be part of the imagery. The storm element of disasters may prove useful in the narrative. However, I'm reluctant to place much reliance on this due to the limited time for the project and the unpredictability of the weather. Storm chasing is notoriously hard and does not come without risk. I'm also conscious this is not a landscape photography project. When considering the how anyone survived these disasters, research can look into the fashions and the materials that were available at the time, making objects for display. Survival in the sea is limited even with modern technology, which was clearly not available in the 18th and 19th century. I feel that further context can be derived from sea shanties. I'm unsure what imagery this will produce at this stage, but they have played a significant part in the timings for tasks and effort aboard merchant ships, unlike naval vessels that use drums to beat time. Documents and laws and journals will be used to embellish the narrative. Parliamentary archives and the British Library have been contacted to arrange access to these precious documents, as well as the creation of individual charts and replication of journals to aid and add to the imagery. Initial research revealed this passage in relation to the Halliswell. It shows how individual loss is not measured. War numbers have no emotion. Current COVID numbers are similar, with nearly 160,000 lives lost in the UK. People touched individually, but people do not feel the mass loss. Disaster such as the Halliswell or shipwreck, plane crash, large instant numbers create a shock response. Is it the event or the deaths that are important? We all remember the Lockerbie bombing tragedy, but it's the only individuals that remember the dead. With so many disasters and things happening in the world, I feel the tragedy versus the collective consciousness needs to be explored. As with the Halliswell, now forgotten, but a major tragedy of its time. Will 9/11 be forgotten? Has Lockerbie already been forgotten? Unlike the wealthy survivors who had horse and cart to return to London, the seamen that survived the wrecking had to walk back to London, and this could be a worthwhile experience adding to the project. There are local people that have dived the wreck, so it would be of interest to interview them and picture their finds of coins and other artifacts as still life images. Work has also been undertaken by Falmouth University, so I'll be contacting for further information from them regarding information upon the wreck site. We'll have to adhere to the timescales imposed by the academic calendar. I see the majority of the image making and research will be February through June, allowing July for bringing the work to completion, which I will touch on shortly, and August for the creation of the Critical Review of Practice and the PDF. For the dissemination of the work, I feel it fits well with a public display on the beach, similar to Worthing Council utilising stone-filled gabion plinths, which I plan to replicate on the beach of Swanage. This will give much greater public access to the work for the display. Other options could be the display as part of the Purbeck Arts Week. However, this year the display is a lot earlier in May and there may not be any work available. There will be an investigation into the production of a book, but time constraints may cause this to be after the FMP finishes. With sustainability a key part of the project, I feel it would be inappropriate to make use of a private jet. However, there will be need for some travelling to other counties, but I feel it's important to produce much more of the project in my local area of Dorset. So the final major project begins. The start of the end of studies and the beginning of greater things. I look forward to comments, guidance and suggestions. Thank you for viewing.